Hi, this is Shannon with Chic and Sassy Nails by Shannon. I am finally getting around to doing my next mani. I kind of ran out of time before I went on vacation to do what I had wanted, so I just threw on a quick set, like super fast, didn't even record it, and I am finally just getting time to take that off. We are going to do a combination, like a mixed mani look here, because we're finally getting warm weather here in Minnesota. And I'm going to show off one of the new Petite sets. This is Coral Gardens. This is from the Shimmering Siren collection, I believe it was called. So I'm going to do an overlay and then, but I'm using it underneath. I'm just trying to decide which ones I want to use. We're going to use these three. And we're going to do raspberry jam, the jelly set over the clear nail art. So that's like underneath instead of on top. And then I'm just going to use two of the Petite sets, two of the Petite strips as accents. So I'm going to just pull out, I should have done this first. So we were on vacation last week. We went to Las Vegas for 2 nights. It was a 3-day quick trip, but it was jammed packed. So, and we ended up, so we were doing 2 nights and we had 3 full days there because we took a red eye home on Friday night, which is a lot better in theory. You know, it was a cheaper flight. We didn't have to pay for the expensive Friday night hotel room. And really we had gotten, my trip had been kind of last minute because we weren't actually planning on doing a spring break trip at all. And over Christmas break, both my husband and I got COVID, so the kids spent their Christmas break in quarantine with us and did not really get to do a lot of anything but stay home. So I decided we were going to do a couple nights, do something fun, and we had been looking at this crazy place that we'd seen online called Omega Mart. And it's like crazy fun art installation meets like mega escape room type place. It's very hard to explain, but it's just definitely an experience where you go. I just folded that over on itself. Oh, of course. Dang it, I'll just have to get another one out. I hate when I mess up when I'm talking. I don't think I can save that and unfold it without it ripping. You know what though? Maybe I really just need the edge with the leaf. So hold on a second. That works. Okay. Okay. So doing the clear nail art underneath the jelly set, I'm hoping to give it kind of a different effect. I'd love for it to still look like the jelly nails, that transparentness, is that a word? But and kind of a little bit more subtle than when it's on top. So anyway, sorry. Of course, like I said, I messed up when I was talking because I can't do more than one thing at a time apparently. So basically I wanted to plan a quick trip because our Christmas was kind of lame. So being stuck in quarantine, and then part of my daughter's 16th birthday, I had gotten us tickets to opening night of Hamilton, which happened to be the Tuesday night of our spring break. So that meant in order to go anywhere for spring break, we only had Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday was Easter. So we ended up finding cheap airfare, like very cheap airfare to Las Vegas, and doing the red eye. And then finding cheap hotel rooms, because hotels in Vegas are fairly inexpensive comparatively, because of course they charge you a bajillion dollars to eat anywhere around there, and expect most people to gamble and drink. But so we ended up staying 2 nights, and then the week rates at the Palazzo were like only $114 a night, which is super cheap. So we stayed there Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday it like tripled in price. So we didn't, like I said, it worked out to just take the red eye home and save, quite a bit of money on hotel, plus airfare was cheaper per ticket. And I have decided that flying with 4 people is rough, just because of the price. Airfare is super high right now. But I got a little crease in that. So anyway, we went to a show. So we flew in Wednesday, landed at 1 their time, which is they're 2 hours behind us, and then we rented a car through a company called Turo, Turo. I don't know if anybody's heard of that before, but it's like Airbnb, but for cars. We hadn't done it before. This was our first time, and it was a fabulous experience for us. It was a little cheaper, or at least equivalent to what a rental car company is, and you can like pick a car. Like you pick the exact car, where, as a rental company, you pick like a category of cars. And they usually have kind of the base model, cheaper vehicles. We ended up renting an older, like a 2017 Porsche Cayenne, which is the Porsche SUV. So it was very nice. It was super comfortable. It was bigger than, it was a decent size SUV, so all of our luggage and, the kids and stuff fit great. It was super clean. So it was a great experience for us, especially renting like that for the first time. I have heard, before we booked with them, I had checked, and most of the people that I saw on Facebook had great experiences with it. I think there are, just like Airbnb and like anything, you can find reviews and find people that had not so great experiences. But we checked with our insurance company, because that was an issue that somebody brought up, is that, what happens if you're in an accident. And I did call our insurance, or my husband called the insurance, and our actual agent has used Turo before and said that we're covered. Kind of like a rental car, and we were good to go. So once that was the case, we went ahead and took that chance, and it was a great experience, like I said. So there are definitely cheaper vehicles, like under $100 a day, that you can find through that app. I'm using it when I go down I am doing a weekend retreat with some of my leaders on our team. I think there's just like 5 of us, maybe. That's right after, like literally the day after I get home from the home office visit. Sorry, my dogs want to go outside and they just bark at everybody walking by, so I have them inside, but then they're just barking from inside at everybody walking by. Because it is finally like 80 degrees here in Minnesota. Yeah, it's 80 right now, which is crazy, because then again on the weekend it's supposed to be like 50s. again. So back to like our normal. It's such weird weather. All right, so that's what I'm doing. I'm doing I believe that one's palm down. I don't even actually know. And then I'm going to do the hot pink over it. And then I'm just using the Coral Garden, the ombre strips as the accent for this mani. I wanted to... So if you haven't used the jelly sets, these are the translucent like jelly looking nails. So you can see how see-through they are. So when you mix them with layer them with other sets, they create beautiful new colors. I don't think I've seen one that I've not liked, but I wanted to do it with an underlay and try to keep the jelliness showing, if those are actual, how you would say that. And I'm liking the effect. Alright, let's see if I lined that up. I didn't line that up the best, so let's see if I can let's see if I can fix that. Okay. Alright, I'm trying to smooth that out. Alright, here you go. So our first day in Vegas, we did, we landed, we drove to the Mirage Hotel, had lunch, and then went to the box office because we wanted to see if tickets were available for that night. And it is at least like $20-30 cheaper to go to the box office than to pay Ticketmaster fees and stuff. So, and because it was a Wednesday night, we got 4 tickets, and we did the Cirque du Soleil Beatles show called Love. It was fabulous. I still think my favorite Cirque du Soleil show that I've ever seen is O, which is at the Bellagio. It is more expensive, or it used to be more expensive, but my husband and I saw that before we had kids. But I actually didn't even looking at tickets to that one because I'd already seen it, even though it is a really cool show. But Love was really good too, and it's like its own unique theater in the round type thing, and it's pretty cool. It was worth I didn't get enough strips out because I think my nails are too long. It's been tight trying to get 2 nails with this one because they're a little long. Let's see if I can make this work. Ooh, I have to trim off my nail. Oh, is it just long enough? And can I do it without it getting... It has a little wrinkle in it. I'll have to try to smooth out. I keep getting a little wrinkle right in the tip of this nail. And this is because this nail curves in both directions. I always have a little bit of trouble getting that one just quite as smooth. Okay, I love this raspberry color by itself, or over and overlay, I guess, but you know what I mean. So Wednesday was a super long day because we've had our flight and then we had a late show. We had a 9:30 show, and with that 2-hour time change, it was like starting at 11:30. So my youngest took a nap after we checked into the hotel after lunch before we headed out to dinner and the show. And then Thursday we went to Omega Mart, which is that crazy place I was talking about. And like I said, we've seen it online, and they have all sorts of like YouTube videos about what it is and the lore. So there's this whole backstory, I guess, to it. All right, so if you haven't done a Petite set, so these are, I should have kept to show you guys the difference, but the height difference is about 1/4 of an inch, maybe a little less. And then it's super close to the same width. The largest strip is super close to the same width as the second largest. Maybe it's a little bit narrower. See how it's that much? Can you see that? But I'm gonna go ahead and use this accent nail, and then I have to hope this wide, it's gonna be tight to get that one out of this. So, but I do not get 2 nails out of 1 strip with this. I guess I could have done this lighter one. We will see how this works out here. So you have to be a little bit more creative if you're not, well, this one with the design only being on a few nails, you're limited to which nails, which strips you can use on which fingers. But a lot of us like to do tips or slant tips, the negative space. So something like, cutting the tip or the, at an angle of one of these, cutting it in half and getting 2 tips out of it would work. Something like that. All right. I'm going to save this till later. And actually, this is getting pretty hot. My mat. Let's see. If I want to use... I think it's different too. They have a little bit of a different amount of curviness to the ends of these Petite sets. Oh, these ones have a white back. I'm going to use this curvier end. We're going to go here. My nails are short, but they are not that short that I could get two with one. So unless you have super short nails, well, that's not actually true. If you have short nail beds, and not a lot of length, I guess, you could probably, some people might be able to get to 2. I have long nail beds, so I don't think that's a possibility for me. But anyway, back to my trip. We did Omega Mart on Thursday, and it was just the kids and me. Joe has anxiety and plus has a bad back. So climbing and doing stairs and exploring and walking around this place is not his cup of tea. I don't know if this is going to be wide enough. Do I use these short ones that are going to be too short on my right hand because it's not my nail-fee hand? Heck yeah. All right, so Joe did not join us. Instead, Joe went to a casino and gambled. And then he, Thursday night, he actually did go to, he wanted to go see BattleBots, which was like it's like a thing on TV that we've seen before, where like people make fighting these little robot type machine things. They look like remote controlled cars, but with like weapons and stuff, like with blades and crushy things. And so they do remote controlled, and then they fight these little bots against each other. But he said it was kind of more geared towards kids instead. But he checked that out, and then the kids and I Joe actually dropped us off, and we went over to the Paris Hotel, and we got like a snack or treats, and then we walked to the Bellagio and saw the fountain show there, and we ended up watching some street performers with some break dancing and that kind of acrobatic stuff. And then we walked back to our hotel, and then we crashed for the night because we were exhausted. And then, all right, this is not my norm, but I like it. I'm gonna see how small these little ones are. I should have probably planned better at which nails to do, and I should have done my pinky nail and one other accent. So I should have done my pinky and this one, which I think I was going to do in my head originally, and then as I'm actually doing it I forgot, so that's my bad. So these are going to be a little small for this, unless I open another set, which I don't really want to do. So we are just going to have a little bit too small of a strip on this nail, and it's not too bad. So, like I said, before I started, I totally was going to do my pinky and my index, but then I did not do that, so it is okay. I think I can make that work. Nobody's going to notice. And then I have to finish my thumbs. Alright. So then, our last day in Vegas, we had the rental car, but we did not have the hotel, so we checked out a little bit before noon, went to lunch, and we drove to it's called the Valley of Fire State Park, which was about an hour drive, I would say, from Vegas, and totally worth it. This one's even a little, it's fine. Like I said, nobody's gonna pay attention that it's off, so totally worth it. We didn't leave, we didn't get there till probably 3 because we didn't check out till almost noon, and we had a big lunch, and then we drove there, and the visitor center closed at 4, so we ran over there, got some waters and some snacks because I didn't think about doing that beforehand. And then you have to be out of the state park by sundown, so, but by the time it gets dark, so, but the sun set at like 7, but it wouldn't be dark immediately, but that was our goal, to be out of there by 7. So we only had 4 hours total there, including our little pit stop at the visitor center. And then we did 3 basically of the sites. They only have mainly 2 roads to get in to the Valley of Fire. Not 2 roads to go in, but there's 2 roads that run through the park. There's an east-west and a north-south, and we came in from the west and then headed east, and then we drove up. At the visitor center is the crossroads. It's the intersection of those 2 roads, and we then took the other road going north and went up So we stopped at one place before the visitor center on the way in, and the kids like climbed around these big rock formations called the beehives. And then we went north and did the end of the road. There were 2 hiking trails. The first one was like a mile hike, and it took us a little under an hour, I think, with taking pictures and stuff. And then again, Joe like naps in the car because he can't hike because his back is bad. But the kids and I hiked, and then we drove to our second spot that I wanted to hike, and that was like a 2.5 mile hike. And then that ended up being just my oldest and myself because somebody else was tired. So, but we got some super cool pictures. It was gorgeous scenery. We had the perfect day because it was like low 70s, high 60s, low 70s that day. And I mean, you know how hot Las Vegas can get. So the only other time we had the kids in Vegas is we had done a road trip in 2018 where we flew to LA. Joe bought a car, and then we stayed in LA for was it 2 nights, because we stayed in Anaheim and did like Disneyland. We stayed there 2 nights because we did Disneyland one day and we did Universal Studios Hollywood one day. Drove down to San Diego and then drove up to do the San Diego Zoo because that was a bucket list item of mine, is to go see the panda bears before they left. Actually, I didn't know they were leaving at the time, but they did leave the next year or the year after that. But anyway, then we drove from San Diego to Vegas, stayed at Vegas for a night, continued on to the Grand Canyon, did Arches National Park in Utah, did Mount Rushmore area, visited my nephew in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. So that was like this epic, we drove through Colorado, the Rocky Mountains, and yeah. So anyway, but that was a summer trip, and we were in Vegas in July, and it was 113 the day that we were there. So we did not do a lot of exploring and walking around that day outside. We did hit every pool that we could at the Plaza because a couple of them were like 21 and up, but we at least dipped our toes in each one just to say we did. Anyway, that was our road trip. That was a whole fun. That was quite a few years ago now, but so when we went on that road trip, we did stop at Arches in Utah, Arches State National Park, which has a lot of those super cool rock formations, but that was also like 111 degrees that day. So we had a beautiful day this past week where it was like low 70s to do Fire Valley State Park. So Valley of Fire. That's funny, I said it backwards. Valley of Fire State Park. So I highly recommend all the things we did. But here you go. We did my first very springy mani with our first, well, this is our second 80-degree day. It hit 80 yesterday, I believe. I can't even remember which palm overlay this was, and it wasn't labeled. But then I did the raspberry jam over it, and I did the accents of the coral garden. So you can see it's a little bit short on both sides here. I don't know if you can tell that. For those smaller petite sets, but really when I am holding out my nails and have everyday life, I don't think anybody would ever notice. So don't be afraid to try using those if you're be a little bit better planner than I did. Like I said, I planned on, my total intention was to use those small strips on my pinkies and do these two as coral garden, and I did not do that. So so don't make my mistakes, but you can make it work either way. Again, you can also, cut some of the strips and do tips, all sorts of things you can do with these petites. So don't be afraid if there's something you like to try it. I know you don't quite get as many manis out of it, but they are really cute. So, all right. You guys have a great day. I'll talk to you later. Take care. Bye-bye.